Hello everybody and welcome back to the U-Pike Sports Network. My name is Michael Pagano as we are currently in the middle of our preseason interview with the men's basketball program, and now I'm sitting here with Christian Sweazie, a redshirt junior, and we're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming season. So first things first, coming in, it's your second year here at Pikeville, but I want to go back before you got here. What played into your transfer into Pikeville?
The coaches showed a lot of love for me. Mm-hmm. So like they were really the ones like texting me all the time, and they asked for a lot of my game film to watch, and just the relationship I have with Coach Ship prior to coming here. He actually recruited me at Fairmont while I was in high school, so it was kind of that connection that kind of drew me here, because me and Sid had a pretty good understanding of each other, and we knew each other, and I knew like Sid was a good guy, so yeah, it was easy to trust him.
So how was the first year? It was a little bit of a interesting year. It was kind of a normal year, but kind of not a normal year. How did that play into the atmosphere of the team?
I think COVID just kept everything it was just so like we weren't really able to gauge things too well. Like road trips would be, we just pick up a game on road trips, or like you never know if a team was going to be sick, so like your game plan had to be pretty up to date, pretty quick. And I think it just kept us on our toes the entire time. I think it was hard, but at the same time it was good for us, like as a team, just kind of like building camaraderie and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely an interesting time,
yeah.
Unfortunately, it's still not quite out of the woods yet.
Yeah.
But so coming into this year, actually, before we get into that, you have a number change. You were number 5 last year, and now you're number 55. Go into a little bit of why you changed your number.
So when I was at Fairmont and I redshirted my freshman year, we had like a 50 club. So kind of just to pay homage to those guys I redshirted with, and just keep it going.
Talk about some of your goals coming into your season.
My goals this season, we definitely as a team, we want to win the Mid-South, because I feel like if we can win the Mid-South, we have like a lot of potential to do things in the tournament and things like that. And then for me personally, I'd love to be on the Mid-South team. Just I feel like if I play well enough, I could make one of those teams.
Yeah, and then actually coming into the season, it's a really new-looking team. I mean, there's only 5 returners from last season, and I think like 10 or so new guys. Yeah. Talk about how that relationship's been built.
It's a lot of gelling right now. So we're trying to figure out how everyone plays and kind of like what spots people like and just everyone's play style. But I feel like it's coming along. Yeah. I feel like it's coming along. We have a lot more pieces than we had last year, so we're able to put guys in different positions and stuff like that, to where we were a little undersized last year, but I feel like we have a lot more pieces this year.
So real quick, talk a little bit about your favorite thing outside of basketball.
My favorite thing outside of basketball right now. Right now, it'd probably just be watching TV shows. Me and my roommate JB, we just find TV shows and kind of binge them.
What do you watch?
What do I watch? Squid Game. Squid Game was big.
Squid Game,
yeah, Squid Game is pretty good. We're looking forward to the new season of You. That'll be.
Yeah. So, who is your favorite basketball athlete? But then, who is your favorite non-basketball athlete?
My favorite basketball athlete. I had to say Michael Jordan, just because of how competitive he was. Yeah, I just love watching like how fiery and how competitive he was.
Big Last Dance guy then?
Yeah. He was huge.
That was great. I loved it.
And then non-basketball athlete, that's tough. I don't know. That's a tough one. It's a tough one.
So then lastly, what would you say in your whole career is your favorite moment in basketball?
My favorite moment? I'd have to say beating West Lib at the buzzer. So when I was at Fairmont, we played West Liberty. It was, I think, we were top 15, and they were top 5. And we beat them at home at the buzzer to win, which was just a crazy atmosphere and a crazy game to be in.
Yeah, definitely. You can't beat a buzzer beater.
Yeah.
So with that, we're going to be back here in a few moments. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, so first things first, you're coming in. It's your 3rd year here at U-Pike. Your first coach came in, it was Coach Kelly Wells, and now he has moved on to be the athletic director here, and now you're heading into Tigh Compton in his 2nd year. So what was that adjustment like? I know Coach Compton has been with the team for several years, so it couldn't have been too big of an adjustment, but kind of take me through that.
They wasn't really that big of adjustment at all. We ran all the same stuff, and he had coached under Coach Wells for a long time, so really it was just a change of face for the head coach, but it really wasn't that big of an adjustment at all.
So last year you were named 2nd team all-conference. How exciting was that?
Yeah, it was exciting for me, but I was just glad that I was able to help the team in the way that I could, and I'm excited for this coming up season.
Yeah, absolutely. So last year, Me and Christian talked about it a little bit. It was a weird year. How was it feeling? How did it feel for you kind of going through not really 100% sure when you would be playing and all that?
Yeah, you always had to be ready to play whoever, because we had that Monday where we could do makeup games. So you always had to be ready, and you never knew who was going to be sick or whatever. So it was always the next man up. So everyone had to be prepared and ready.
Yeah, definitely. So take me through this year's team. It's a new team. There's a lot of new faces. How was the team began to gel before the beginning of the season?
I think we'll be really good. We've got a lot of new faces, and we got a lot of versatility. So I think that will help us a lot on the offensive end and defensive end.
What are your goals coming into this season?
I think my goal of coming this season would be, just to win every game that we can. To be the top of the conference and, of course, win a national championship. That's our ultimate goal, and that's been our goal since day one.
Yeah, absolutely. And then individually, are there any goals you've made for yourself?
Individually is, just to be the best teammate and help the team in any way that I can. I don't really set individual goals like that. I just want to win.
So you've been here for a few years. I think you're actually the longest tenured player on the team, if I'm not incorrect on that. So what's your favorite thing about U-Pike basketball?
Just relationships I've been able to build with people, not just the players, but the coaches and just everyone at U-Pike. It's probably my favorite thing from being here for so long.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think I agree with you on that. Being a former college athlete myself, I think a lot of people will tell you that it's more about the relationships you build than necessarily what happens on the court or the field or whatever. Yeah. And then lastly, who is your favorite basketball player of all time and why?
Probably Larry Bird, just because of the way that he played and the way he could shoot.
He's probably the only guy that anybody knows of that went to Indiana State, too.
Yep.
So can't beat the Sycamores. All right, folks, we're going to be back in a few moments here on the U-Pike Sports Network as we're going to be talking to Jacob Brown. Jacob, we're a few weeks out from the beginning of the season. How excited are you to get it rolling?
I mean, I'm super excited. It's potentially could be my last year playing basketball at the college level, and I couldn't be more excited about what we have this season. I think we're going to shock a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. So let's talk about that a little bit. You transferred in a few years ago. Mm-hmm. What played into your decision to come to U-Pike?
Really, Coach Sid was the main one that recruited me, and he actually was at the school I was at before this, Fairmont State, and we just connected right there on the spot, and he told me all the good about Pikeville, and I trusted him, and I'm here.
Yeah, definitely. It's good to have a coach that you're able to have a great relationship before you even step onto campus.
For sure.
So coming from Fairmont State, a little bit different than U-Pike. Mm-hmm. Was there any major adjustments you had to make going from that game to the game at Pikeville?
I'm not going to lie. A lot of people sleep on the NAIA level, but it's actually a lot more, let's say, physical. Mm-hmm. It's a lot more physical play, and that's one thing I just had to learn to make myself do, is just be more aggressive and physical on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, this will be my first season watching NAIA basketball, so I'm definitely excited to see the Mid-South Conference and see how everybody does, because I know there's a lot of solid teams in the conference. So what is your favorite basketball moment, if you had to pick one, from your whole entire career?
Probably in high school, I had a coming out game my sophomore year. I scored like 27 points, and then after that, I just got more confident with myself and had better self-esteem. Now I carried myself onto the next level, and that just made me who I am today.
If you had to set any goals, or if you haven't set any goals already, what are some team goals and some individual goals you're thinking of coming into the season?
For team goals, I would love to win a conference championship and bring it back here to Pikeville, and potentially go on to the national tournament, and if it all works out well, win a national championship.
Yeah.
But I mean, personal wise, I just want to be a good role model, really, for anybody looking up to me and to other high school athletes, and just know that they can do it. It doesn't matter what level you go or how far you go. You just got to believe in yourself and believe in other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And then The team's a different looking team this year. There's only 5 returners and several new faces. What has that been like for you?
It's been a change, really. It's just coming in. We had a good team last year. We all bonded really well, and then after the season, we lost a lot of people, and me, Korbin, Sweazie, D-Love, and Taevon were the only ones left, and then everybody else coming in, we just had to start all over and create that bond that all brought us together, and I really feel like it's finally starting to come together, just based off the practices we're having and the way we talk to each other now.
Yeah, absolutely. And then lastly, if you had to pick one, who was your favorite basketball player of all time, and why?
Of all time? Oh, man, that's a hard one. Probably MJ, honestly. I like KD too, but MJ's he's the GOAT, so
yeah,
I'm going to have to stick with him, and he's a Carolina boy. So
it's the second MJ I've gotten so far. Yeah. You and Sweazie have both said MJ, and I also got a Larry Bird in there, so I'm excited to see where everybody else comes with their answer.
Pretty good one.
All right, folks, with that, we're going to step away here on the U-Pike Sports Network, and when we come back, we will have some more interviews from the men's basketball team. Sitting here with Darius Love, redshirt junior. Just talked to Jacob Brown for a few moments. And so, Darius, coming into this year, it's coming off of a weird year. Only played 24 games, a lot of COVID talk, a lot of just uncertainty. What was that like being on the team last year?
It was very different, honestly. Like, the basketball part was kind of the same, but I think all the other aspects was kind of different. You know, from having no fans one game to fans another game.
Yeah.
And having half your teammates in practice, half of them in quarantine. Like, it was just, you kind of learned to just adjust on the fly.
Yeah, definitely. And it was really kind of different everywhere, too. I mean, you had some places that it was a little more relaxed, other places where there was absolutely going to be nobody there. So hopefully this year, everybody's crossing their fingers. It's a relatively normal year.
Right.
So going back a few years, you transferred into U-Pike. What played into your decision to come here?
I just really wanted to get back into the swing of things, and me and Coach Fogg built a good relationship, and I trusted him enough to, you know, trust his judgment, and he showed me like the groundwork of everything and how U-Pike is ran. So I kind of wanted to be a part of that and be a part of something big.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been a very tightly knit coaching staff for several years. I mean, most of the coaches have been here for at least 3, 4, 5, even longer than that. So what's your favorite thing going off of that? What's your favorite thing about playing at U-Pike?
Just the people. I love like the coaching staff and like the players. I think we've built a very good bond, and we just became, you know, like a family. So I think that's the most important part for me.
Yeah, definitely. But speaking about that a little bit, I've talked to several of the guys about this. It's a new team this year for the most part. There's only 5 returners, a lot of new guys. What's that kind of relationship building been like?
It's been pretty good up to so far because they're adjusting pretty well. You know, they want to learn. They're like good people off the court, so that always makes it better when they're good people. You know, it makes it easier to do the job and get the job done when they're actually trying to adapt instead of just doing their own thing. You know. Yeah,
definitely. So we'll step back a few years again. So what made you get into basketball growing up?
Honestly, I didn't even like basketball at first. My older brother played it. I played football and baseball, but I just wanted to be like him in everything he did. So I took it on, and then I was like, okay, it's not outside. I don't have to be in the sun all the time, in the AC. And, I mean, I began to find a love for it. So I think that's just carried it on up to today.
Yeah, I definitely understand how you feel. I had an older brother as well, and I felt like I had to always do everything he did. So I definitely understand how you feel about that. So coming into this year, what are some of the goals you have as for the team and for individually?
First and foremost, championship.
Yeah.
You know, and when you think that high, I think everything else falls in line, because if you're serious about it, you'll kind of take on the little tasks to get to the big task. You know what I'm saying? So we're looking forward to that. Of course, graduation outside of basketball and just enjoying the process, you know, want to just have fun every step of the way, also get business done, and then go win a championship at the end of the year.
And then I think that's the most important question here. Who is your favorite basketball player of all time, and why?
Besides myself, I like James Harden.
Okay.
Because I'm from Houston, and what I like about him is, besides his game, he receives a lot of backlash, and he handles it pretty well. You know, I think that's a key element in life, period. So, and I love his game, so that's my favorite player.
You were the first one to give me a modern player. I've gotten 2 Michael Jordans and a Larry Bird. So I'm glad to hear somebody from the last 10 or so years. But anyways, we'll be back here in a few minutes as we're going to be talking to Taevon Horton. Hi, hello everybody. We're sitting down with senior Taevon Horton as we're continuing to get everybody excited and look into the future for the men's basketball team as they get started on October 30th when they take on Virginia Lynchburg. But anyways, talk about your first season at U-Pike a little bit. You came in last year, transferred in. What was that like for you?
You know, off the gate, I had a lot of expectations for myself and for the team. Unfortunately, I missed a couple games because of injuries, but other than that, man, everything was smooth. I feel, you know, if a couple things would have bounced a different way, you know, we'd have been in a different spot. So I'm looking forward to this year.
So what was your experience like last year? I know it was a different year, and a few guys have had different feelings about the year and how COVID affected it, but what was it like for you?
I don't know. With COVID, it was kind of like difficult a little bit, you know, like just staying locked in. You know, you come in, there's no fans, but you know, all in all, man, it's basketball, so I had fun either way.
Yeah, definitely. So let's go off of that a little bit. You're going into your senior year, your last year. What are your goals for both the team and then as an individual?
Well, you know, from personally, man, I don't really get like, you know, into like accolades and stuff like that. Like, the goal for me is just to approach every practice, you know, walk through a game the same, you know, treat them all the same. So that's like really like a personal goal for me. But for the team, man, you know, I just want everybody to buy in, you know, get everything they got because, you know, the little things is what's going to take you over the edge. You know, we lost last year just from like offensive rebounds, simple, you know, something small. So, you know, I don't really have a huge goal for the team. I just want everybody to buy in, you know, and do what they're good at. So.
Yeah, so speaking of that, it's a really new team. Yeah. There's only a couple of returners. How has that been for everybody that's coming in for their first year?
It's kind of like the same boat as last year, you know.
Yeah.
So, you know, you just take it slow, man. You just take it day by day. You know, take it day by day.
So going back a little bit, what got you into the game of basketball?
Oh, man. Dwayne Wade is my favorite basketball player ever. You know, so, you know, he got drafted in 2003, so just watching him play kind of made me want to start. And, you know, I got 3 siblings that did it before me, so, you know, my oldest brother, Taevon, he's really set the foundation for all of us, so.
Yeah. So that was actually going to be one of my questions later on is who your favorite player was. Yeah. So just to kind of give you a recap of everybody else, I got 2 Michael Jordans, I got a Larry Bird, and I got a James Harden. So kind of a wide range. But anyways, lastly, just kind of a fun question. If you had to play a different sport than basketball, what would it be and why?
I think it would be baseball.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know. I've always wanted to play it. No, I wouldn't be good at it.
Did you ever play growing up?
Nah, never.
Yeah.
I only played basketball. That's it.
Yeah.
So.
And good luck for the rest of the season. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
So with that, folks, we're going to step away for a few moments, and then we're going to be talking to Head Coach Tigh Compton. We're sitting here with Tigh Compton. Coach, thank you for taking the time to talk with me today. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you.
So first off, before we get into this season and kind of get into everything, just kind of tell me why you wanted to become a coach in the first place.
I had always been involved in athletics, involved in sports growing up. My parents had both been coaches of mine growing up, had also coached AAU and high school level sports. So it was always a huge piece of my life. And when it came time to kind of figure out what I was going to do, I wanted to do something revolving around sports. And, you know, just having the background and having the parents and having the influential people in my life that were coaches before, you know, I thought I might want to try that and want to do that, and was able to kind of get my feet wet middle school and high school, right after high school, and, you know, ended up working out and having the opportunity here.
So talk about when you got here, what was that, how did that kind of all work out, and then how did you kind of build yourself up? Because you were here several years before you ended up becoming the head coach.
Sure, yeah. I transferred in. I got my associate's degree at a junior college closer to home and transferred here as a junior, and knew at that point in time I wanted to do something related to basketball professionally. not play professionally, but something coaching-wise or something within the sport. So when I got here, I approached Coach Wells and just asked for an opportunity to be on his staff, doing anything that he needed me to do. And, at that time, we didn't have a whole lot of helping hands on deck. So he granted me the opportunity to come and kind of just started as a student manager, student assistant, and, just sweeping the floor, running the clock in practice, just whatever it was I could do, packing the uniforms. It's kind of how I got my start. So just kind of started working from there, but thankful that Coach gave me that opportunity to start with.
So thinking about it, what year were you in when you guys won the national championship?
That would have been my second year. 09-10 was my first. 10-11 would have been my second year. I was a senior undergraduate assistant that year.
Yeah, pretty exciting season.
Sure. No, it was. Yeah. It's hard to top. It's been hard to top the whole way. So.
Yeah. Well, it was quite the run. So, anyways, talk about last season a little bit. You come in. This is your first year, and unfortunately, your first year had to be littered with uncertainty, COVID, everything you could ever think of. What was that? What was that like for you, just trying to navigate all that?
Yeah, it was difficult, and we talk all the time about the difficulties that come with COVID and athletics now, but everybody's facing those same challenges. So really, we tried to not feel sorry for ourselves, not make excuses, and just try to figure out what we have to adapt to be able to be successful. And it was tough. We brought in a large roster, brought in 10 or 12 new guys, and the uncertainty of whether we were going to get to play or not, and what that was going to look like. How do you sell the uncertainty? And just trying to figure out that moving forward. But the biggest thing for us, I think, was just trying to create as much normalcy as we could, while also embracing the fact that we were going to have to adapt and change and kind of figure things out on the fly, because there wasn't a blueprint for what we were trying to do last year. So, again, while everybody was struggling with it, we were no different. We just had to just embrace trying to find a new way and being as successful in that way as we could, and hopefully, while everyone's trying to learn a new way to be successful, hopefully we could be the first to find it and be the most successful. I thought we did some good things and obviously had some challenges, but as the year went on and more normalcy creeped in, I thought we made good strides as a team.
Yeah, so talk a little bit about, you mentioned how when you first came on, there wasn't a lot of help, I guess, maybe not a lot of full-time people. So how's that kind of changed? I mean, it's a pretty tight-knit staff. I mean, these guys have been together for 4, 5, 6 years.
Yeah, no question. When I first started as a student assistant, we had one full-time coach, Coach Wells, one full-time assistant, and myself. And we had another part-time assistant that worked a job here in town that came over and helped us at practice. So, that was a blessing to me early. I was able to do a lot of the responsibilities that, our full-time assistants do now as a part-time undergraduate assistant. And again, I had to earn those responsibilities and that right from Coach Wells, just by doing the things that he gave me, as well as I could, to earn more responsibility, more opportunity. But getting my feet wet, having more opportunity early was a huge benefit to my career, and something that, I try to extend down now to my staff now and try to delegate to them so that they have the opportunity to kind of grow in those areas the same that I had.
Yeah, absolutely. So kind of coming into this year, first game, October 30th, Virginia-Lynchburg, here at the arena. Just kind of tell me how excited you are to hopefully, fingers crossed, have a pretty normal season.
Yeah, we're really excited. So far we've had minimal interruption with anything, and we're hoping that we can continue on that path. But again, we're approaching it from a standpoint of that there's probably going to be interruption at some point in time, whether it be with our program or another program that affects our schedule. So just being able to adapt and being able to find a way to be successful regardless of what kind of cards we are dealt. We try to be successful in the day that we're at, and try not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but just try to prepare as much as we can to win the day that we're in and move forward and hope that that's enough at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. So coming into this year too, I talked to this with a lot of the guys. It's kind of a new team. I mean, there's 5 returners. We talked to all 5 of them, but you got a lot of guys that are be in their first year here at U-Pike, and I know that's a pretty normal-ish thing. But how has that been kind of playing out on the court?
It's had its good days and bad days. I am thankful that we have 5 guys that played a huge role for us last year that have been able to lead the way a little bit in some of the off-season, preseason, and now into our early practice sessions. But we have a lot of impact guys that are new, that are having to kind of figure things out a little bit. Our offensive scheme is very similar to what we did last year, so our returners have been able to really kind of show them the ropes in that regard. But our defense is a little bit different than anything that we had done, even with the returners. So we're having to teach that from ground zero. And, patience is key at this point in time. It's really hard. We're in that phase now where we're a couple weeks away from the season opener. We're a couple weeks into practice. You kind of look at the calendar, and 2 weeks doesn't seem like very far when you're looking at the calendar. But, to think about, 14 or 15 more practice opportunities for us to get better until we have to play. I like where we're at. I think we're making the strides that we need to make. We just have to make sure that we continue to stride all the way to the season opener. And the realization that everything's not going to be perfect to start the year. We don't have to be the best that we're going to be at the beginning. Hopefully it's a progression and we can peak at the right time later in the season. But, I think our baseline level of being prepared and being ready is where it needs to be at this point.
And then is there anything specific that you're looking for on the team or on the court this year?
Really, it's just, I thought last year that our aggression really wasn't where it needed to be. I thought that we played hard. I thought our energy, I thought our effort was where it needed to be. But I didn't feel that we played all the time with a chip on our shoulder. And that's really kind of the way that our staff approaches things and the way we try to get our players to approach, daily habits, much less game habits. But, I think we've got to have a little bit of more of a killer instinct, so to speak, more of an aggressive. We talk about tilting the floor. We want to be aggressive on both ends of the floor. We want to take it to people versus kind of sitting back and being the team that surveys at the beginning of games. So our overall aggression as a team and just our demeanor as a team and being a team that's going to come out and kind of set the rules versus a team that just shows up to compete has got to get a little bit better. And so far we've answered the bell with that. Yeah, absolutely. So talk a little bit about your coaching mentors coming through and becoming a head coach. Sure. The obvious one is Coach Wells. Was able to work with him for 12 years here and continue to work with him in a different capacity. But, everything that I know about this level of basketball has come from him. The benefits to being in a program like this is we've had many successful assistant coaches that I've been able to share offices with and work alongside along the way as well. So just being able to be in there and work with those guys and, just bounce ideas off of each other about what we're going to do when we get our opportunity to run our program, what we agree with, what we disagree with. A lot of those folks have been in several other programs, whereas I haven't. So just hearing their experiences coming from different programs and what they were thinking at that point in time compared to what they think they're going to do in the future, that's been huge for me. Even going back to high school, the football coaches at my high school were huge influences and still continue to be huge influences in terms of my coaching career now. They're always around. They're always there to answer any question that I have. They've been unbelievably supportive of me up to so far in this journey that I've had. And, basketball-wise, we had a coaching change when I was going into my senior year. The coach that took over, Coach Greg Reif, he gave me my first coaching opportunity when I first finished high school. So without him being able to see that I had an interest in that and trust me within his program with some of those responsibilities, maybe this isn't something I end up doing. So, Coach Reif, all the assistant coaches that I've been able to work with along the way, and obviously Coach Wells, he's, it's impossible to put into words what Coach Wells has meant to my career personally and professionally. Yeah. So, little bit off topic-ish. Going back a few years, Hall of Fame ceremony's coming up in a few weeks. KJ Manigault's going in. What was your experiences with him, and how excited are you to see him go into the Hall of Fame? Sure, no, unbelievably excited. KJ represents everything that we want our players to represent here. He came in as a transfer, had a lot of tough times leading up to his arrival here. Just had not been able to kind of get it figured out academically, had little success on the floor. It just hadn't clicked for him at the collegiate level, and came here really kicked things into gear, really took a different approach to academics, took a different approach to his daily habits, and ended up maximizing his potential to become the only National Player of the Year that we've had. So, unbelievable player. KJ was a guy that, I recruited for better part of 2 or 3 years before he came, to be honest. He was sitting out, had some eligibility issues at the school that he was at. a friend of mine that is in the recruiting business kind of hit me up and said, hey, this kid may need another opportunity if you're interested. We reached out at the time. Brett Rector was our associate head coach. So, I reached out and did what I could. I had Coach Rector get involved with it as well because he knew much more about what to do in that situation. I just knew we had a really good player. We didn't want to lose him. And, KJ was reluctant at first. He had to kind of do some things academically to earn the opportunity to come here or to go anywhere at that point in time, and put his head down, figured it out. And after a couple years of kind of coaching him to that this was where he needed to be and that we could really help him, he took a leap of faith and he came. And, the rest is history, so to speak. He's still one of the guys that I stay in contact with the most. Just finished a really good summer season in Canada with another friend of mine that was on the coaching staff up there. And couldn't be more proud of what he's accomplished as a professional, and obviously personally as well has grown tremendously. So very, very proud of KJ.
And then I've asked all the guys this. Who is your favorite basketball player of all time and why?
My favorite basketball player of all time, probably my overall favorite basketball player of all time is probably Kobe Bryant.
Okay, yeah.
Big fan of Kobe Bryant. Big fan of his just competitiveness, what he was able to get out of himself, what he demanded of himself. That was probably my overall favorite. Now, the guy's giving me a hard time. Jason Williams, White Chocolate.
Yeah.
That's he may be second, probably, just from an entertainment perspective. And a guy growing up in West Virginia making it big. That was always big for a guy like me coming from Southwest Virginia and watching him be successful growing up. So Kobe Bryant with White Chocolate coming in a close second.
Yeah. Coach, appreciate you taking the time.
Awesome, man. Thanks, Mike.
Good luck.